MultimediaJay radio style.
Howdy folks, MultimediaJay back on the mic once again here. Probably leaving a lot of you folks wondering, okay, Jay, radio style, radio style, radio style. When are you going to get off that darn microphone and film another real video? Well, I've kind of messed things up in that department. No, I didn't break my camera or anything, but I was swapping SD cards and I dropped my the card that I use for my camcorder. And I got to dig around in like furniture and under rugs and stuff like that. Somehow or another, they just basically gotten it's somewhere around here. I just got to dig it out. But the only card that I have left that I can record on my camcorder with is a card that I bought to back things up on. So I don't want to risk losing that too. So right now, I just got to dig out where the heck my card went when I accidentally dropped it and it fell into a tight spot that's hard to reach. I might have to move furniture, do some really big searching. I mean, we're talking about a flash memory card that is the size of a postage stamp. Now, don't get me wrong. I love SD-style cards. I've got a little, let's see, look around here. That's it. Where is it? Oh, great. Now I've lost it. The one thing I don't want to, oh, no, it's right under this envelope. I got to get this mail pile off my desk here. But, my last order from JJ Games, I ordered some of those Torx bit driver thingies that you use to open up game cartridges to change batteries and stuff. And he sent them to me in a Gameboy case from an old Game Boy game. And I found that this little Gameboy case, if I can get my consonants correct here, is perfect for putting all of my cards in. But, of course, they're so small. These things are like the size of postage stamps. So even though they are kind of like the floppy disks of this millennium, they have their issues, too, being easy to lose being one of them. So I'm going to have to do some digging around and find where mine went. I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could move the important stuff that I've got backed up from SDHC cards down to some of my normal SD cards, but labeling them is a challenge because how small these darn things are. And also, there's another notable issue that I think the class on the card that I back things up on isn't as good as it is on the one that I bought specifically for my camcorder, so the video quality would be less. For those of you wondering, when you go buy SD-style cards on e-tailer, retailer sites, whatever, or in stores, the class has to do with the kind of data throughput that the card can handle in terms of how quickly data can get onto the card, which affects things like your quality, whether or not a camcorder can record something or without cutting out or something like that, and whether you can record something without errors. So it's I have to dig out the manual for my camcorder, but there's a minimum class of flash card that I'd have to get in order to record things smoothly without any technical hitches or anything like that messing up my recordings. So whenever I can dig that other card out and not have to worry about my backup card that I'm backing stuff up on, then I'll be able to do more with the camcorder without being such a nervous wreck. Although really, I'm way overdue to do some more cleaning around here and rearranging things. It's springtime, and they don't call it spring cleaning for nothing. So, anyways, let's get to what we want to talk about here, which is YouTube One and clickable program guides and some changes I want to make to this channel when I switch over to YouTube One. As it is right now, there's a lot of people that have been flipping out about this new YouTube One layout that a lot of people are talking about. Of course, they're flipping out about it. That means a lot of people are talking about it. Who am I getting here, right? But, yeah, it's Friday. I got a little bit of Friday-itis going on, just like the folks I work with, because our work week still technically ends on Friday, even though we're on night shift and it ends in the wee hours of the morning on Friday. We had a little bit of Friday-itis and TGIFing going on, and did I say TGIFing like it's a verb? Anyways, here's the thing. YouTube One is getting complained about, yelled about, the works by all kinds of people, some of whom just hate any kind of change whatsoever, whenever any change comes along, and some of whom have, like, they're big-time artists, and they've put a lot of effort into making the custom graphics for their YouTube channel that they're now going to lose when they switch over, but I really think YouTube 1 is probably one of the best ideas YouTube has ever come up with. Yeah, sure, it's very generic and things like that in terms of what it looks like, but in terms of how it operates, I'd say that YouTube 1 is probably the best idea for a channel design that YouTube has had since the original channel layouts back when the site first launched. Now, I've had my share of very negative things to say about some of the redesigns over the years, like what I called YouTube Vista, which is where they went from the original design to that newspaper format with the media player smack dab in the middle of the screen. So here were all these people out there. Widescreen displays were first catching on, and we were seeing widescreen televisions take off, widescreen computer displays take off. But what does YouTube do? They squeeze everything together into the middle of the screen. Yeah, that totally made a lot of sense, but at least you could still use a customized color scheme. And then they went for, I called it YouTube Vista because it focused too much on looks over practicality, similar to how Windows Vista was supposed to be a shiny update to Windows XP, but Windows XP turned out to be far more useful, and Microsoft wound up sheepishly allowing for downgrades back to XP when Vista came out. Then Windows 7 did quite well, and now here we go again with Windows 8, and people being offered downgrade capabilities to drop down to Windows 7 on a computer that they buy that has Windows 8 on it. Things never change, do they? Anyways, YouTube Vista gave way to the Panda thing with the gray stuff and things like that, where everybody got switched over to this generic layout, and all they could have was a customized background. And now, this next YouTube 1 layout is basically Google+. I think it's a cross between Google+ and Windows 8. Now, the Google+ thing, I'm not really a huge fan of that because it just looks so much like Google, of course, being the parent of YouTube at this point. Google is so desperate to get Google Plus to become something like Facebook that they're making every single other service they provide look like Google Plus. Now, that's a bit of applied psychology that you see in business, where businesses try to get their customers to think a certain way about a product or service, and what they basically do is they make a lot of their stuff look alike. And so people start mentally associating a certain look with a certain product or service. Apple, for example, with the plastic white look to it, the glossy white plastic or something, where the Nintendo DS, when it first, or not the DS, the DS Lite, when the DS Lite launched, people were saying that Nintendo ripped off Apple because the iMac and stuff like that used this translucent white plastic or other colors of plastic, but it looked like something that Apple would make, not something Nintendo made. And people went to town with this. They just like, oh, look, Nintendo's running out of ideas. They ripped off Apple. And this is kind of psychology in business, that you want to have a consistent look in things, which, by the way, even before I switched to YouTube 1, I desperately need to update on my channel too. So let me just go over here if this thing will load. Anyways, there it is, finally. Do I have anything using bandwidth right now? Steam or something? I don't know. Maybe it's just a slow page load. Or maybe I should restart my network equipment here. But anyways, my gradients, my blue gradients that I've been using for over 10 years on personal websites, my old MySpace page had them back in the day. YouTube has used them and stuff. I have two different shades of blue that I use. If you look at my channel logo as of this recording, it's got different shades of blue from the gradient that I'm using for my background. Now, the gradient on my background on my YouTube channel with the Cosmic Panda, or whatever you want to call it, the panda look, the gray thing, the old layout as of this recording, is from, I actually discovered it by accident. I was actually working on something at work, and I had some time waiting for like something to finish up or go to a meeting or something, and I just on the fly opened up PowerPoint, took my company's logo, and made a beautiful looking gradient wallpaper that caught the attention of my manager. He's like, "Hey, nice background." And I wouldn't be surprised if if some of the other people I worked with helped themselves to the background for their computers too, because I did put it up on the file server for our site. But this is the thing: This is I love this blue because it's blue, but not like bluish. It's kind of more of a slate blue, similar to what Google Chrome uses by default or something like that. It's not as bluish. So I've always been a fan of medium blue, but I really liked how these colors looked. And but the problem is, all of my gradients that I use for my videos still use the old hues of blue for all of that. So it's a little bit of a disconnect there that I got to update. Maybe when I do switch to Google Plus or Google Plus to YouTube One or something. See, the psychology's messing with my head too. I'm mixing YouTube One up with Google Plus. That's how that stuff works. It's probably one of the reasons why they're doing it. But if you can get over the aesthetic of what the new YouTube thingamabob looks like, what's going on with YouTube One is something that this site has desperately needed for a long time. First, I mentioned earlier the thing where everything's getting squeezed together, right? That little doodad I mentioned where things get squeezed in the middle from the YouTube Vista revamp and stuff back when everything first launched. The YouTube sites don't scale with the size of your display. And besides your widescreen and your square screen displays, for anybody that still has an old school square screen display, there's scaling issues because the channel doesn't scale. Or if someone's operating at a lower resolution, you got to worry about 720p versus 1080p. If someone's got a 720p display, or they have a laptop that only does 1366 by 768 while other people have a huge television. I mean, this is kind of like a Windows 8 type thing where YouTube One is supposed to address diversity in displays and devices that people surf the internet on, because the mobile internet revolution with cellular broadband and now smartphone broadband is not going away. So one of the big questions, and even some doomsdayers think the World Wide Web is doomed because more and more people are using the internet on tablets and smartphones than on traditional computers. But I view it in the same category as post-PC. It's not that PCs need to go away, and a recent Gabe Newell speech that I watched kind of speaks to that a bit. It's not that PCs need to go away, they're just sharing the stage with other devices. Likewise, the web pages, the display layout that we use for YouTube right now is appearing on other types of devices as well. And the way YouTube really should work is it needs to scale everything to match the size of the screen or the type of device that YouTube is being viewed on. And YouTube One does that. This might actually help my video views from people that watch on smartphones and stuff like that, because my current setup is very, very PC-centric and dated by today's standards. So this will be a great way, scaling-wise, to update everything, even if the look is generic. Scaling is something that, actually, if I look back at my old YouTube Vista rant, I still have it around. Do I even still have it on my channel? Maybe I should upload it as a retro reel if I don't. So let me just type it in here. The original YouTube layout from the version 1 layout from the mid-2000s. YouTube, no, it's not on here. I should put that up as some kind of, or maybe this thing just is total crap. Let's try Vista, see what comes up. I'm not getting it. Wow. Maybe I should retro reel that sucker, because when YouTube first got revamped, I jumped on here and just flipped my lid about it, because the original setup, the original YouTube setup, actually let me pause the recording and go watch that after this, but the original YouTube setup, if I remember right, scaled, but YouTube Vista didn't, and that was a big step backwards for the site in terms of functionality, to cram everything into a little player in the middle of what's usually a widescreen display, whereas the old layout actually scaled to fill the screen properly. Let me go take a look at my old YouTube Vista rant here. Just watched the Vista rant from 2009, and the YouTube Vista rant, that is, not a rant about Windows Vista in 2009. That would totally be not the thing to do, I think. But anyways, yeah, first of which, I need to retro reel that, and it'll be my first ever widescreen retro reel video on here. So I might have to redo the intro for the retro reel to properly support widescreen, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to see myself flipping my lid about YouTube changing profiles for the first major time in 2009 when the site had been around for a few years. Now what? We barely get a year out of these profile thingies that they do. Well, hopefully they can stick to what we've got with YouTube 1, because YouTube 1 seems, I think that the only real way to improve after that is to allow for custom colors again. Yeah, sure, custom graphics may eat up server space per account, but surely they can let people at least pick different colors, right? I don't know. Also worth noting, it wasn't the case that YouTube Vista didn't scale in the old channel. The old channels didn't scale either back in those days. They just filled the screen a lot better on a larger display then, and the elements rearranged themselves as you resized the window. So it didn't fill the screen. So that's what I'm noticing with these YouTube 1 channels. Like, let me go to Review Tech USA here. Yup, on the PC, if you view the channel if you basically resize your window to make it the size that you'd look at on like an old 4:3 display, there's a minimum size below which the new channels won't scale down. But they will scale up. When you go from the 4:3 to full-blown 1080p, you get more videos in the playlist, the sideways playlist, and stuff like that. It'll take some getting used to, but ultimately YouTube 1 is going to be more flexible than the last several, probably any single other previous iteration of it. The only issue is this comes at the cost of, because it's a generated site that doesn't, kind of like other sites that operate the same way, it really kills a lot of the custom graphics and things like that. Although YouTube might benefit from a lack of custom graphics and less server space needed to host all that custom graphics and things like that. Now, the loss of custom graphics, except for a banner, has basically been a flashpoint for a lot of people that have been angry about this new setup. But I just got to say, if you're an artist and you spent the time making those custom backgrounds and putting in all those links and things like that, yeah, of course you can be offended. I mean, you did spend time putting that stuff together. But for everybody else, I mean, nah, let's not punish the artists here. They did put in some time. They should be recognized for their hard work. From an IT perspective, though, too much custom graphics and the ability to put in links and stuff opens the door to security risks, like someone embedding like a link to a Trojan or a keylogger on their YouTube page or something like that, which I imagine is the sort of thing the YouTube would want to eliminate. So I can see why they're cutting down on almost all the custom graphics from an IT perspective, with server space and all this other assorted stuff and things along those lines. So no big surprise there. I think in the end, YouTube 1 will be a positive, as it really puts the focus back where it should be on these channels, videos, and not necessarily anybody's custom graphics or anything like that. Because who goes to a YouTube channel to sit on the channel page looking at custom graphics all day? I mean, you may look at it once, be like, oh, cool, but ultimately what people want to see is the content, not the packaging. So it's really, I mean, I don't think it gets any plainer as day that things can only get better as far as YouTube 1 is concerned. Plus, the compatibility across multiple types of devices, the improved image or the improved branding, so to speak, with the banner being resizable across multiple devices and giving real previews of that. I mean, people are accessing the internet on all kinds of screens these days in all shapes and sizes through all different kinds of methods like web browser, direct app, YouTube app on PS3, etc. So, I mean, really, a lot of these changes are just YouTube keeping with the times, unlike some of their competitors, some of whom are no longer around because they were stagnant for too long, and they went under because they just couldn't keep up features-wise. Live video, for example. YouTube had full HD, widescreen, they removed the length limit, the works, and live video couldn't even get widescreen working before the site became the zombified mess that it is today, where it's around, but nothing works, so you can't watch any actual videos on it. And that's what I have to say to all the technophobes who are flipping out about this because they hate any and all change that takes place on the internet. Sorry, that's the way it works. I mean, web browsing in the year 2013 is different than it was even as recently as 2010. I mean, things change all the time. Things go in and out of style, new functionalities come out, things like that. You have things like the mobile internet revolution, mobile broadband, and stuff like that. It used to be the case that cellular broadband was a card you bought from your cell phone service provider to plug into a laptop. Now you just have it right on the phone. I mean, so much changes that sites like YouTube and other things online, they have to change just to keep up with it. Never mind stay dominant in what they do because of that. And we've already seen competing sites go under because they can't keep up with all the changes as far as features and other things go as well. So in any event, times change. If you really want, take a picture of your current YouTube channel layout before you switch over to YouTube One, if you folks are going to do that. But I imagine, much like the other stuff that YouTube has done over the years, that eventually this will become mandatory, and the option to change back will no longer be supported. As far as YouTube One is concerned, the only real holdup at this point is I don't have an intro video to put on for the video for people that aren't subscribed yet. I'd like to get that done before making the switch. But there's some other features of YouTube One that I like as well. Like, for example, the what to watch next thing that recommends other videos based on what you watch. Now, this incorporates some stuff that Google's been developing over the past several years or so to try and guess what people would be interested in based on what they're currently doing online. Some people consider it a privacy thing, but I think it's just another iteration of stuff like RSS that doesn't require you to go around having to mess with a feed reader or subscribe to things or something like that. But okay, you liked this video, you watched this video, so maybe you'll like this one too if you don't want to, basically Google's trying to appeal to lazy people sitting there plunking away at their mouse and clicking around on the internet. But in the case of channels like mine, I think my channel would definitely benefit quite a bit from YouTube One, because a lot of the stuff that I do on here is not time related. So it's not like, here's my update for today. I do some of that, but not very much. And as I've heard from feedback about people that go to my blog for the first time, multimediajay.wordpress.com, sometimes it's like going to Wikipedia for the first time. It's bewildering. Hey, there's so much stuff here. It's going to take me a while to play catch up and stuff like that. So, and I imagine that my channel's probably gotten like that with the videos that are the wide variety of stuff that I do on here being a variety channel and stuff like that. So I'm certain that the new layout where the computers do the searching for you, so you don't have to dig through bazillions of playlists, I'm sure that might even help with views as well, because one of the depressing things that I saw with my, it was hard to see because of the compression on the graphics and stuff, but actually I might still have the picture around. Let me go digging for it. But one of the depressing things that I saw in my old, in the thing that I did, in the, that thing I got a retro reel, the video about YouTube Vista, one of the things that I saw that was absolutely depressing was, here was my video that was featured at the time. My latest video was a vlog that I did with only 200-something subscribers, and it already had like 60 to 100 views for just a regular video blog talking about a mundane topic. That is sad. When I do stuff like this nowadays, and maybe 10 views, 20 views, and stuff like that. And of course, you got people that watch YouTube in bursts, so I'll have stuff sit around at single-digit views, and then all of a sudden, bam, suddenly there's double digits on everything, because everybody that only watches stuff like once a week plays a little catch-up and watches things in bursts. So I'm trying to find it. I think I still have somewhere around here. I've still got the screenshot from the first version of YouTube that I have that should be a little bit more readable. Let me do some digging here and wait for Picasa to catch up and loading all the pictures. Nah, I was wrong yet again. I was getting the screenshot that I used in the YouTube Vista rant mixed up with a screenshot I took when my Will It Nuke thing, which was a parody of Will It Blend that I did in 2006. Got featured on the original YouTube back when video bloggers could still end up on the front page way back in the day. But yeah, that was quite some time ago. So yeah, definitely. YouTube One, I think, is probably going to be a good thing for this channel with all the stuff that I've got on here. And a lot of it not being time sensitive, people can just go and pick a video and just watch it. I mean, my fitness coach video for Play Some Stuff that I did nearly 5 years ago. Was it 2009? Spring 2009? I think in 10, 11, 12, 13. Next year would be 5 years for that sucker. I think that's, let me go look at the analytics. Or no, let me just sort by popularity in terms of views. Let's see. Browse videos. I think the most popular. I took down the Ashens parody. Yep, there it is. Play Some Stuff, My Fitness Coach, 4 years ago. 60,000 views for part 1 and part 2. So, Yeah, I guess people are still watching this stuff, even though the game is so old right now. But I knew that video was going to do well because nobody else really talked about My Fitness Coach and stuff like that. There were other Xer games for the Wii that got reviewed and stuff, but for whatever reason, this game got glossed over. And so I wound up being able to be the one to do the video on it. So, most popular Play Some Stuff of all time, most popular video of all time. Although my first Ashen's parody got quite a lot of views because of all the humorless Brits making fun of my horrendous fake British accent that I used for it and all kinds of other stuff. I gotta retro reel that one of these days, but I'm gonna really have to hold my nose to retro reel that sucker. Even I laugh at it nowadays. But then again, I sounded so much different back then. Even the YouTube Vista thing from 2009 sounds different than what I do now. So, woohoo! 25 minutes of YouTube 1, and I wanted to talk about clickable program guides too. Wow, am I really being horrible at keeping things brief? Anywho, with the functionality that I've mentioned up to this point that YouTube 1 is going to bring to this channel, I think the clickable program guides are probably something I should roll out retroactively to as many videos as possible on here for things like the retro reel and stuff like that, where I talk about a video before I play it. Sometimes the historical context of the video is like a couple of minutes, and people would have to click to go straight to it. I also received a snarky comment on my interview with the computer video back a while ago, where people were like, hint, skip to this, and I was like, yeah, well, this video predates when I did the clickable click around stuff for my podcasts and stuff like that. But I think some of the other video types besides the podcast would probably do well. Some of these radio style segments, like, oh yeah, half hour, when do you switch between the topics, that kind of sort of thing. Some of these radio styles could use a little clickable guide as well, but I don't want to be giving up time making things for this channel or doing other stuff like blog entries and stuff just to retroactively fit every video that I have with a clickable program guide. But it's one of those it'd be nice if type things where it'd be nice if I had something like that. Definitely something to keep in mind, but that's the story on things with YouTube 1 and the clickable program guides as well. YouTube 1, I think, is going to be a good thing for this channel because this channel is the kind of channel that would benefit from something like YouTube 1, especially if people can have videos suggested to them and things like that, and not have to go digging through all the playlists that I have in order to find stuff. Or the search feature on YouTube I found on people's channels with the Cosmic Panda design has been kind of dumb, not really working all that well in terms of it's probably better to Google site search a YouTube channel than use the search box on a YouTube channel. Like last year, I think it was I erroneously uploaded my Play Some Stuff Thanksgiving special from World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King as a retro reel, completely oblivious to the fact that I hadn't actually removed the original video that was uploaded all those years ago. So I was like, oh, oops, and deleted the retro reel for that. But this is a case where I tried using the search function to find out if the video was still on there, and it didn't show up in the search results, and the search was wrong, and therefore I was wrong. So, yeah. YouTube 1 will probably be a good thing for this channel. It'll probably be a good thing for the site in general. It's just people got to get over the hurdle of getting used to the new setup. And as soon as I can record like some kind of intro video for it, I'll probably make the switch myself even before YouTube starts forcing people to switch over to YouTube 1. So that's where I stand on YouTube 1. You've been listening to MultimediaJay Radio Style. Thanks for listening, everybody. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.